Hello and welcome back. I just finished watching Dragon Ball GT episode 39 for the very first time, and it was sorta kinda what I expected ish. So basically, for those of you who maybe weren't here or don't remember last episode, basically I gave a lot of my thoughts on what would happen in this episode. That mainly being, I was wondering, I was expecting there to be sort of a fight between Goku and Baby. And I was expecting there to maybe be something to make it a bit more dramatic and climactic. And I did not expect the arc to basically end this episode. Well, I'll give a brief summary of things that happened before giving my overall thoughts. So we did get a Goku Baby fight. It was not as epic or as exciting as I thought it would be. Basically, they fight a little bit, then Baby throws a death ball at Goku, and Goku absorbs the death ball, and then Baby's on the ropes and gets knocked out, and then Goku destroys Baby's tail as the Great Ozaru, and Baby begins to shrink back down, and because Baby's body had grown so large in order to fill up the Ozaru, when it began to shrink back down, he had to leave Vegeta's body, so that takes care of that. Vegeta shrinks. Well, Baby leaves Vegeta's body, and Vegeta turns back into Vegeta, and his clothes are miraculously exactly the same as they were before. And Baby basically escapes in a ship, but then Goku fires a Kamehameha at the ship, and it gets destroyed and it's vaporized into the sun and all that. And so they go spread, the whole ultra holy water mist over the world and cure every one of Baby's eggs. And then, just when it seems like things are beginning to wrap up and get back together, the Earth begins to start falling apart because they don't have the Black Star Dragon Balls, and they only have 2 more weeks before Earth is doomed. So that's this episode, and now I'll give my thoughts. So last time I explicitly stated I wanted a fight which really is like an adrenaline-fueled, blood-pumping, fight that really has you going, yeah, action. And I used the fight at the end of Dragon Ball Super in episode 131 as my example of a really great climactic fight scene. Mainly because that was a sort of fight which dragged on into the next episode, but they still had to wrap things up, and so it was a sort of similar situation to where they were here in GT in terms of how they needed to wrap things up and what was going on. And the fight was a GT fight. It wasn't all that dramatic or dynamic or exhilarating, and it really ended in an anticlimax for me. I expected, a really, if you think about the final moments of villains and how, or the final fights at the end of Dragon Ball arcs are always really epic and exciting. So with some exceptions, but for the most part, let's go over the final moments of fights in Dragon Ball. So, and how intense they are. So we're ignoring ones which end a bit differently, like the Pilaf arc we had, it wasn't really a fight, it was just Goku going Ozaru and all that. But then, in the Tenkaichi Budokai, we got a really great fight between Goku and Jackie Chun. I guess, am I keeping this spoiler-free for Dragon Ball fans? But anyway, and that was really drag out, and it ended in a really suspenseful way. And then Red Ribbon Army, it was kind of okay. It wasn't really, that suspenseful. It was more of a curve stomp, I suppose. But then, and we're skipping Uranai Baba as well, because that also ended very, a non-typical climax for that arc. But then going into the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, another really great ending to that fight, where like a really dramatic ending and suspenseful, where Goku launches himself into Tien, and they both go flying down, and everyone like runs out of the stadium, and like it's really suspenseful because you're waiting to see like who's gonna land first, who's gonna get out first, what's it gonna be. So that's really suspenseful. Same with the Jackie Chun fight, and then next arc, really fantastic ending to the Goku versus King Piccolo fight, where Goku launches himself into the air. Like King Piccolo flies up, he's about to destroy Goku. Goku uses all of his energy to like the last of energy to launch himself into the air and create a fist and like blast through King Piccolo. That's like a really great ending to that fight. And then another fantastic fight at the end of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, where basically like Goku again launches himself like with the last of his strength at Piccolo Jr. in order to knock him out of the ring. So a really suspenseful ending to that fight as well. And then the Saiyan arc, like that, like the battle with Vegeta was just like who can get on top. Like Toriyama kept like throwing curveball after curveball. It's like, oh, you got to use the Genki Dama, but he survives the Genki Dama. But now it's like, it's like they kept throwing stuff at us, and it like finally ends with like Gohan going great ape and like crashing onto Vegeta, and Vegeta just barely escaping, and that leads really well into Frieza. And then the Frieza thing, it was, I guess you could say, like Frieza's death, quote unquote, was similar to Baby's, maybe because Goku did, like, Frieza was really at the end of his rope there, and Goku basically just gave him enough to survive and like just wiped him out basically. But it still had more of a satisfying end than just this, you know what I mean? And then Cell, that's a really satisfying ending. With like the beam struggle and the father-son Kamehameha, and like Vegeta coming in to distract him just to give Gohan that little bit of edge that he needed to like blast Cell away. Super satisfying. And then Boo, with the spirit bomb and like Goku like getting them wishing back Goku's strength, and there's like a struggle with the spirit bomb as well. Where Goku might not make it, but because they like wished his strength back, he was able to destroy Boo. And like, so you can see my purpose of like bringing up all of these examples of endings in Dragon Ball, of ending fights, was not simply just recapping great moments. It was to demonstrate how each ending of these villains, like each of these fights, end with a really climactic or dramatic moment. Like where you're not sure if they're gonna get out of it, you know what I mean? But they just manage to just barely pull through, and it keeps you like on the edge of your seat. Whereas this was the exact opposite of that. So compare all of those epic like final moments to this, where it feels like Goku's just taking care of business, you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, Baby leaves, boom, Fire Kamehameha, that's it. It was very, very unsatisfying to me. And it just did not have that edge or that, like, suspense that really should be there at the end, like an end of arc battle. But yeah, I mean, and I know I've been going on for a lot, like, about, and I'm not even halfway through the episode, my thoughts on the episode. Like, this is, like, a little bit of the ways, well, I guess it's more than half of the ways in. It's pretty far into it. But it very much was just, like, this felt like, okay, we gotta end it. How do we end it? I don't know. Let's just get Baby out of there, like, with this last second thing. And it was very unsatisfying. I need to be totally transparent in how anticlimactic Baby's final moment was. Like, and, but yeah, after that, they begin healing everyone, and so I already mentioned I thought, so, okay, I feel like there's been a ton of moments in this series where I've been like, this person's dead. This is what happened. And then a later episode comes along and I have to be like, okay, I was wrong. I thought, like, what they indicated here was different than what I thought, or et cetera, et cetera. So I thought, when they returned the Black Star Dragon Balls and Baby made the wish, I thought that meant that they had a whole nother year in order to gather the Black Star Dragon Balls up and get them back to Earth again. I thought, like, it reset the counter, so to speak. Turns out that was not the case. And it did not reset the counter. They are still within the same year of the show having come back. So there was no... There was no they are screwed, okay? Like, I'm looking at this situation they're in. They only have 2 weeks to gather up the Black Star Dragon Balls. They're screwed. I don't know how they're gonna get out of it. The only thing I can think of is maybe they can, like, transfer the entire Earth's population to planet Safuru, maybe, because they have that whole other planet there. And then that would give them enough time to gather up the Dragon Balls. But, I mean, another thing I could see them doing is, like, gathering up Earth's Dragon Balls and wishing for, like, I don't know, can you make a wish on one pair of Dragon Balls in order to collect the other pair of Dragon Balls? Like, and wouldn't that invalidate the entire first Black Star Dragon Ball arc? And so it's like, basically... Here's my basic things. Number 1, I don't know how they're going to get out of this. I think they're screwed. Number 2, every time I think we're done with the Black Star Dragon Ball arc, stuff from it keeps coming back. I don't know what other way to say it. I've been talking about this entire series. I've been saying, okay, I just want the Black Star Dragon Ball arc to end. I want to move on to something else. And every time it seems like we get to move on to something else, something about the Black Star Dragon Ball arc just keeps coming back. Like, we're at episode 39. We are over halfway through the series. And I feel like this arc, to a certain extent, is still going on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's never ending. This is the entire show is going to be dealing with this. Which, on one hand, it's nice to have this through line for your show, but on the other hand, I don't enjoy that through line. I enjoyed the stuff that had nothing to do with that through line. But yeah. What was the third thing I was going to say? I was going to say a third thing. Oh, yeah. Having this dramatic moment at the end of this episode, I feel also kind of contributed to the anticlimactic nature of this episode. Because, like, you wrap up stuff with Baby, you do the end of arc wrap up, and then it's like, boom, we still have a cliffhanger even though the villain is dead, and it feels like we're just trudging along here. Like, ideally, I don't know how I would have done it. I would have had something more climactic to finish Baby off with, and then maybe give it a bit more time, maybe, I feel like. Before, like, bringing this up. I don't know what I would have done. It's just... This is an episode I have mixed feelings on. Can you tell? I don't know if you could have told that from my thoughts so far, but it's an episode I have mixed feelings on. I guess this is an end of arc episode, maybe. I don't know what's going to happen next episode. I genuinely do not know. I feel like something's going to happen. They're going to have to find some way out of this. Maybe they can pull in a favor or something. I don't know what they're going to do, because there's no way they can, like, there's no way this can get a quick fix without automatically invalidating all the work that the characters went through in the last arc, the Black Star Dragon Ball arc. And it'll make us as an audience feel like we wasted our time watching them as well. You know what I mean? So it's the sort of thing where I'm like, yeah, they could have done a better job with this. Is basically what I'm saying. Um, hopefully, hopefully we're moving on to better stuff. I know I've been saying that for the over half of the series. I keep saying hopefully things will get better, and to be fair, they did get better. They definitely did improve. Okay, since this is the end of the baby arc, I'm assuming this is the end of the baby arc because he literally died. He was vaporized. I will give my overall thoughts on the arc now. Assuming this is the end. It would be really awkward if it just baby comes back in the next episode and it's like, oh. But I don't know. I do not think that's gonna happen. So, but basically, my overall thoughts on the baby arc. I guess a lot of my thoughts on the baby arc depends on sort of where you count the starting point of the baby arc to be. Because in the Black Star Dragon Ball arc, because the Black Star Dragon Ball arc and the baby arc do have a lot of overlap. There's no point where I can definitively say one ends and the other begins. You know what I mean? So, if we were to say the beginning of the baby arc was where baby makes his first appearance, which is sort of near the end of the Black Star Dragon Ball arc, then I would say this arc got off to a mediocre, not very good start. And then once we get to the episode where baby arrives on Earth, that is where I began enjoying the show a lot more. Because it's no secret I did not enjoy the Black Star Dragon Ball arc. I said I wanted it to end multiple times during my reviews of that arc. And when baby appeared, I was like, okay, more of the same, just another villain. And I knew eventually things were going to wind up on Earth, but I didn't know when things were going to happen. So when baby appeared on Earth and we got that episode back on Earth, and it was a lot better than what we had gone up to that point. And my opinion of, well, not my opinion of GT, but my opinion looking forward improved dramatically because I really enjoyed that episode where baby first comes to Earth. It was a total shift from what we were doing. It was really out of nowhere, but at the same time, it was a good out of nowhere thing because I was not enjoying what we had so far. And so when we got that episode, I was actually willing to let myself go a bit more and begin enjoying myself with the show. And then episode after episode after episode, things got I did not this show, with most shows, it's some episodes are good, some episodes are bad, and you go up and down. With GT, it's more like a sloping up and down, hills and valleys. You know what I mean? You won't get an episode that's really good and then the very next episode is really bad. More often than not with GT is you'll get a good episode and then a slightly worse episode, slightly worse, slightly worse, slightly worse, slightly worse, rock bottom, then slightly better, slightly better, slightly better, slightly better, and you'll get variations, stuff like that, where you go up and down slowly over the course of many, many episodes. And so after baby was back on Earth, well, not back on Earth, on Earth for the first time, I guess you could say. I still was excited, but my enthusiasm was dampened gradually, episode after episode after episode, until we really did hit rock bottom, where Goku wound up in that purgatory realm. I don't know what it was called. And then things got slightly better. And it just it was variations upon that, you know what I mean? And so last episode we were slightly up, and now this episode we're slightly down, if that makes sense. So yeah, so basically what I'm saying is I don't think, like, if someone were to ask me, is the baby arc good? Not in terms of GT, but in terms of all of Dragon Ball on the overall scale. Is the baby arc a good arc? I would be reluctant to... I would give a semi-reluctant no. I don't think this is a good arc comparing it to the majority of Dragon Ball arcs we've gotten. It wasn't the worst Dragon Ball arc. It's definitely a lot better than the Black Star Dragon Ball arc. But it doesn't have enough highs to counteract some of the lows. And I think if it had a really fantastic ending, like a really great, satisfying ending that wraps things up really well, then I think I would be a lot more positive on it. Because a great ending can really make up for mistakes along the way. But because we didn't get that really great climactic final moment where, you know, it just sort of ends in a business-y style, taking care of business type of ending, I don't feel that way. And again, like, it's the sort of thing where, like, I don't want to be I feel like if GT fans are watching this, then they'll be kind of sad, because I don't want to be like just another person who hates on GT. And there's been a lot of stuff that I've enjoyed. Like, I did not enjoy the Black Star Dragon Ball arc, but there has been a lot of stuff in the baby arc that I did enjoy, admittedly. I think there were a lot of great ideas. There were some great moments, but ultimately, I know a lot of us want to say that Dragon Ball is more than fighting. And that's true. Dragon Ball is more than fighting. But the fighting is a very big part of what makes Dragon Ball. And how you execute that fighting is not separate from story. And I feel like there really weren't any good fights, like really good fights in this arc at all, or the last one. There really, it didn't do a great job at keeping my suspense, all that much, and it was just a bit. It felt like it didn't quite know how it felt like they had the bullet points, but they didn't quite know how to execute those bullet points in the most satisfying way. You know what I mean? Like, the final moment with, like, how Baby's destroyed. Like, they were like, okay, we need to kill Baby, but they just did it in such an unsatisfying way. And even stuff like transformations in this series, like, they don't know how to do really satisfying, exciting transformations. Like, the transformation with Super Saiyan 4, that was exciting at all, but they had to divide it between 2 episodes, and I feel like dividing it in between 2 episodes really wasn't a satisfying or engaging way to do it. I feel like they should have just dedicated 1 episode to it. And then, like, Baby's transformation from regular Vegeta to Super Baby 2, I feel like if this was Dragon Ball Z, then we would get some fighting, Baby would transform, we get some more fighting, and then Baby would transform to get even stronger. But with this, it feels like he transforms to get stronger, he fights a little bit, and then he just transforms again, and it feels like why did you transform again? Why did you really need to? I don't get it. Obviously, with the Ozaru transformations, I get it. Like, he needed to. But that's another thing, actually. Like, I don't know if having Baby as an Ozaru for the climax of this arc was the best idea. Like, it was interesting, but I don't know if it really was a great idea to have, because it's very difficult to have a fight between a tiny guy and a gigantic ape. You know what I mean? Like, it was really difficult. I feel like it might have been really difficult to choreograph, and there was a lot of not awkward, but like not great executed moments in terms of the fighting. And I think there might have been some difficulty with that. So, all in all, the baby arc. Do I regret watching the baby arc? I do not regret watching the baby arc. It's another arc I can say I've watched, I guess. Some interesting ideas, some interesting things, fairly original, but I just feel like at the end of the day, it really let me down. I know I'm being a bit more negative than I probably feel, but I really wish that, like, at least if nothing else, they could have done a better job with the end climax. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna end it here. For now. So if you enjoyed this episode, which was a lot longer than my other ones, then feel free to check out my back catalog of other Dragon Ball GT episode reviews. And feel free to stay tuned, because I'm doing a lot more further. I'm doing the whole series, so keep an eye out for future uploads, you gosh darn kids. I'm so, my brain's fried right now. I'm tired. But basically, I'm watching through all of GT. I'm watching all of Dragon Ball GT, folks, episode by episode. Everyone's getting a review, a review of every episode, except for that one where I combined 2 episodes into one review because I feel like I didn't have much to say, but you get the point. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.